My name is Chris Buneo. I'm from New York City originally, more specifically Staten Island, New York. So Pete Davidson is from Staten Island, in case you're interested. So I'm not an engineer by training. I got my undergraduate degree at Long Island University, which is in New York City, in physical therapy, and then I worked as a physical therapist for a few years. When I was in PT school, I had a couple of professors there who recognized that I had this extra interest in the brain and neuroscience. They would send me papers, encourage me to go to the annual conference in New York that was focused on the brain and motor systems, so movement and that sort of thing. And as a training to be a physical therapist, it was super relevant. I ended up getting a PhD at the University of Minnesota, which is in Minneapolis. From there, I did a postdoctoral fellowship at Caltech in California. It's not uncommon that it kind of evolves that way. After talking to the faculty in our school, it's like no one planned to be where they are now, right? It just kind of evolved. They followed their interests, and that's just where they ended up. I like when in the rare cases where it can have one-on-one interactions with students. I don't think students really take advantage of that as much as they could or should. This is physiology for bioengineering. Part of your job as a bioengineer is to design devices and other interventions that are going to help people with some issue that they might have with their body. How can you really do that unless you really understand how the body works? My general area of research is, of course, it's on the brain. It's on sensory motor systems. So how does the brain control movement? How does the brain use sensory information to control movement? And something called neuromodulation, which has really been around for a long time, stimulating the brain to either improve someone's function if they've had a stroke or some other damage to the brain, or stimulating the brain just to improve performance, like learning and memory. We're doing these very simple experiments usually, and then you see someone playing a violin, and it's like, there's no way we're going to be able to understand how that happens. It just isn't. Who knows how things are going to change now that all this AI stuff is coming, and which could be a very, very useful tool for figuring out some of the issues that the field has kind of faced or is facing.